And we are live. Welcome to the Positive Power Hour. I was having so much fun talking with my granddaughter that I looked up and it was 6 o'clock, and I went, "Oh my God, we got to go live!" So this is my granddaughter Melinda, next to by Melly, for those of you that don't know her. And I'll get the comments section going here so that we'll see when people make comments. So we had a great conversation just before we got on air, which will continue as we go along tonight. We've got a number of topics to talk about, and it's been kind of fun already, quite enlightening as far as I'm concerned. I hope you feel the same way, Melly.
I do.
Good. Why don't you say anything you'd like to say to the audience?
Hi, welcome. Hope you get as much of it that I do.
Very nice, very nice. Well, one of the things that I asked my granddaughter Kimberlyn last week and Melly this week is they've been on the show almost every single week, and we've got a Facebook user that's saying hi. I'm not sure who it is, but there's always a couple of possibilities. And there's Nicole saying hi. She's taking a little sabbatical from our show because the doggone sciatica issue has really been kicking her, you know what. But she's here in spirit, and she did pop on and say hi to us all before we got started. And here's Cheryl saying hi to everybody, another one of our continued family members that are on almost every single week. And I'm so happy and honored that you all do that. And so that's Kim. That's the
Dang it, Kim, come on.
There. Yeah.
You know better, Kim.
Yeah. She's not feeling well either. Did you say?
Oh,
I thought you said she wasn't feeling well.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. My bad. Well, hi, everybody. So anyway, we were talking about, what do they get from watching this show every week? They certainly get to hear a lot of the same stories every time, but the point is, and Melly said it so well when we were talking about it, is that it's that reinforcement that keeps her moving in the direction she wants to go into, rather than where the mind will take her to, right? Yes. And I just had to reallow access. Oh, I see. All right. Well, good. I'm glad you're here, Kimberlyn. And so why don't you explain a little bit about that, Melly, what you're getting and what's happening with you as you go through these weeks on the Positive Power Hour.
So I know the world can be just cruel, and sometimes people are so wrapped up in their own self that you look at even in the grocery stores, everyone is just zoned. I know, they have things that they have to do, or, they're on a mission and they have a time crunch, but just smiling at people. And, even if they go, "Oh, excuse me," and you're like, "Oh, no problem," and you're being nice. And then they just have a little bit of upbeat to them. And it's really just being nice to people. You never know what they're going through.
Exactly right.
So this, doing this every Monday just kind of reinsures that, be nice.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much just to be nice. Sometimes, you're wrapped up in your own head and your own things that are going on, and you forget to do that, but then someone will smile at you or something, and you're like, "Oh, wait, yes, hi."
Exactly. And from my experience, I find that the nicer I am, the more I get that back.
Yeah.
Right. And that wasn't my intention. Right. My intention was just to be nicer, notch it up more. Right. Get to be more consistent with being kind and gentle and thoughtful and caring with everybody I meet. Right. And what I get from it personally is a more peaceful experience through the day. And, I work a job currently. I think that's going to end at some point here very soon, hopefully. That's what I'm working towards. But if I'm going to work, I want to enjoy it. And I want to be of service to others, because that's what makes me that feeds my soul, right? That's soul food. And so I've made a conscious effort to be nicer and kinder and gentler and more compassionate and and I find myself feeling better inside myself, more peaceful, more calm, more relaxed by the fact that that's what I want to project to the public, right? To everybody I meet. And the feedback I'm getting from people is humbling. It's like, oh my goodness, that's so kind of you to say that, right? Treat people the way you want to be treated. Absolutely, Cheryl. Nobody wants to be berated, right? I mean, and so why would you do that to somebody else, right? Nobody wants to be treated cruelly. So give what you want and you'll be surprised how you start getting it back. It's so simple. It seems like over simple, right? It's like, well, duh. But how many of us practice it, right?
Yeah, but sometimes if you don't get it back, that's not a reflection of you. That's a reflection of them.
No, but see, if you wait for the getting it back, you were giving conditionally.
Yes.
Right? Well, I was nice to you and you weren't to me, so F you, right? No, you just be nice to people because you want to be nice to people. Because, as Cheryl says, treat people the way you want to be treated. It isn't all that complicated. My dear mentor George used to always say that life is really simple. We just complicate it, right? And that this theme is going to run through several topics that Melinda and I have talked about tonight that really fit this whole theme. Kind of interesting how it works.
Yeah, it went full circle.
Yeah, I was like, I have to reflect, and I know Melinda's on, or Kimberly's on the call, so we'll get a little smile together out of it. But last week we were talking about how, when she was a young girl, she had all of her plans. She knew exactly what she wanted to do. She wasn't going to screw up her life. She was going to make all these positive moves, and everything was going to be great because that's what, by God, she was going to do, because she was a smart girl, don't you know? And then life does what life does, and you find yourself going down 4th Street when you're trying to go down 10th Street, right? Mm-hmm. And you go, oh my God, I was such an idiot. What was I thinking, right? And then what she's gotten to what we pointed out last week, and it was like a big aha moment, was she actually did it. Yeah. Right? She has a beautiful home. She has a husband that adores her. She's
fiance. She's not married yet.
Well, yeah, okay, fiance. We'll go with that.
I know we got to plan the big wedding.
Oh, that's
don't take awesome. That away.
I'm looking forward to that. Yes, absolutely. And so she actually did create the life she wanted, just like you did, right? Just like your mom did, just like I did. We all end up where we're supposed to be, almost in spite of ourselves, right? Yeah. So if we could understand that going in, it would be a lot easier, wouldn't it? Where are we here? We got that one. Here's a comment from Nicole. Being present helps you recognize the world around you. Very insightful, Nicole. Yes, when we're all wrapped up in woe is me, I've got this and I've got that, and I don't know how this is going to work out, and I sure regret what happened yesterday, and you got that mind that's just racing like crazy, you miss everything around you. You miss the magic that happens in the moment, in the present, right? We talk about that all the time on here, right? About the present being the gift from God. And what do most of us do with the present? We throw it in the trash. The greatest gift God can give us is our own soul, right? And then being able to separate ourselves from the lower species, if you will. Sometimes I think they're the higher species, of having the ability to choose. And we choose, too often we choose the wrong thing, right? Like I'm gonna choose to worry instead of choosing to have faith. I'm going to choose to be angry rather than choosing to be happy. Both are choices, right?
Yeah.
All of it is choice. Animals operate off of instinct, right? They feel something, they hear something, they sense something, and they just react to whatever that feeling is. They don't take the time to say, well, let's see, is that a car noise or is that a bus about to run over me? I don't know. Right? So that's where we are different, right? But the key, as Nicole accurately says, is being present, which allows you to recognize the world around you. I had an example of this the other day. A young lady walked in up to my register, and I'd seen her in the store before, and she just looked really troubled. And I said, ma'am, are you okay? No, I'm not. I said, well, I'm so sorry. Is there anything we can do to help? Well, all I know is that I have to vote for somebody other than that G.D. Biden. He's ruining the country. Do you know that they want to take away all of our cash and make us all use cards? And the cards can be run by one bank, and it's not just on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And how, it has to be either Trump or DeSantis that we have to have. We got to save this country. They hate our country. They hate our flag. And I'm looking at her like, who says that? I don't know anyone that says they hate our country. I don't know anyone that says I hate our flag. I know a lot of people, myself included, that love the country, but know it could be better, right? I know a lot of people that feel that way. And I don't know that you have to, hang a flag off your car to let everybody know you're a patriot.
Who is that? She needs to take her crazy pills.
Yeah. I think she took her crazy pills.
That sounds like my husband.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but it says Facebook user.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, you're probably right. It could well be, right? But as she's walking away.
Oh, yep, it's Luke.
Yep, okay. It's your husband, yeah.
See, don't I know him?
As she's walking away, I said, ma'am, I hope the rest of your afternoon is better. Right? I could argue with her. I could tell her that she needs to quit taking her crazy pills, or actually take her crazy pills, so she's not crazy, right? But there's a person who is willing to give up her entire peace and serenity over something she has absolutely no control over by listening to information that really isn't even real, by listening to things that are spewed by somebody that wants everyone to hate each other. I don't know why that is, but whatever. Not that why. What do you tell them now, Millie?
Well, one, he needs to click that link and give access, so we know it's him.
She has, and here's a great comment from Cheryl. She has the choice to move out of the country that she hates so much, right? Yeah.
But it's like you can either give up all your energy to go back and forth with this woman, or just leave it alone, say have a nice day, make her even more mad because right? You will not engage.
Yes.
And go on about your merry little way.
Exactly right. And wish her the best, right? But she's not alone with those kinds of thoughts and feelings, right? There's an awful lot of people that buy into all of the negativity and the hatred and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know why. I don't know how it serves them, but I guess they're just so frustrated with where they are in their life that they have to have somebody to blame for it. Right?
Well, it's also just a marketing thing too. They campaign the presidents. They want this. They want this kind of division and fight against each other. When really all we're looking for is a better way of life.
Well, and that's a comment I made to someone just yesterday. The fact that no matter what color you are, it was my massage therapist, as a matter of fact, who Elisa does just an amazing job working. She's working on my left shoulder that I've got an impingement in, right? Mm-hmm. And she works on, and we talk about all kinds of things. And she was taking a course on political science, and I told her how, I share with a lot of my customers the fact that no matter what color you are, no matter what race you are, no matter what country you came from, whether you came to the country legally or illegally, whether you're gay or straight or non, what do they call it, non-binary or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what all those terms are, but it doesn't matter. Every human being wants to provide a better life for their children and do the best they can to provide for themselves, right? And that goes across the board, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, an atheist, a monk. It makes no difference. We're all the same in that regard. And if we would just look at that and say, okay, how can we make things better for everybody? It seems more inclusive to me than saying, if you're not a Christian, get the hell out of my country. Well, first of all, it wasn't your country to begin with.
Right, that part.
Every Native American has the right to tell us to get the hell out. It was their country to begin with, right?
Yeah, and California was one time Mexico.
So exactly right, right? So who are the aliens here, right?
I had to move my hair because it looked like I wasn't wearing a shirt. I'm like, I'm wearing a shirt, guys.
Okay, that's good. We're glad to know that. Yes. So yes, and what do we have here? Kimberly saying, laugh out loud. Yes, come on, Luke. Oh, they want you to show up, right? And suit up. So anyway, again, this goes back to choice, right? We're talking about, how do I want to spend my day? Do I want to spend it in laughter and enjoyment and having fun with the kids that come into the store and having nice conversations with nice people? Or do I want to fill it with anger and hate and vitriol? It's a choice.
Yeah.
We all have the choice of how we're going to spend our day. I don't know if any of you saw it, but I shared a post that I saw on Facebook the other day about the fact that stress is not caused by what is happening. It's caused by your response to it. Right?
Yeah.
So we can choose to have bad days, or we can choose to have bad moments. We can choose to prolong the suffering, or we can keep ourselves in a state of grace by recognizing that everything is happening exactly the way it's supposed to happen. Why did God give me this? Right? I've shared that story on here about when Kate and I lost everything. We were literally homeless for a little while, right? And I was in, not question, but I just wondered why. I thought that the work that I do is what God would want me to do, right? And why would he take that away from me? And almost instantly, I got that voice that said, he didn't take anything away from you. You get to do what you do everywhere you go, right? Now, I still want it to be different, of course, because like everybody else, I suffer from the disease of more, and I want to help more people, right? And I want to live a more comfortable life, just working what I want to work in, not realizing somebody else's dream. So that's why I keep working at it, even though, there must be easier ways, but I'm stubborn, right? So I'm just going to keep going for it anyway. And you know what? I get to have more fun that way, because at least I'm putting energy to something I really want to do, right?
Yeah. Luke and I were talking earlier, and it kind of hits with this. I have a coworker. Her daughter is going in for heart surgery, and she's a little girl. And we were just talking about everything, and we were talking about how God gives us the struggle to pull us closer to him.
Exactly.
Because when everything goes bad, we're like, okay, God, why is this happening? Help me out of this.
Right.
He gives us the bad so we can draw to him, so we can talk to him and ask him to help us. Because when we're asking him for help, that's when we're actually knowing God.
Yeah.
And the devil is what makes, well, if you believe in if you believe in that, the devil makes sure your life is good so that you don't draw to God. And it's just so funny because you hear people, well, if there was a God, why does he let bad things happen to good people? And you have these millionaires who do awful things, but they're still millionaires. Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Good people go through these tough times to stay closer to God.
Yes.
That way, when you're out of that misery, when you're out of those problems, God helped you through that. So you're going to continue, and you're going to talk to other people to get them closer to God.
Well, that's right. That's right. And that's, one of the things that I talk about a lot, Melly, is that half of the grace is getting that realization, that gift, right? That, oh my gosh, I pulled out of that, right? Mm-hmm. That's half of the blessing. The other half is sharing it with others to help them go through it, right? To help them on the other side of it, right? Yeah. And that's what's so great about opening up. And this will lead us into the next thing that we're talking about. It's kind of fun how all this plays open, isn't it? Right?
Yep. Communication.
I asked her if there was anything she wanted to talk about tonight, and she said, "Yeah, I want to talk about communication, and about how difficult communication can be, because we don't want to get hurt, we don't want to be rejected, and we don't want to hurt somebody else. So it's like, how do you express what you're going through without all these
fear of judgment
stop you from doing it, right?" And let me get this message here from Nicole real quick. "Yes, in my prayers, it includes my family draws nearer to God." Yeah. And I believe your entire family has pulled closer to God. From everything I'm seeing, sure feels that way, right? Yeah. So we're talking about communication, and sometimes communication with our own family members are the hardest, right?
Yeah.
Because, we only want the best for our family, and we don't want them to get hurt, and we don't want them to go straying off in the wrong direction. And we also want to be heard, but in a positive way. And we don't want that attack that comes quite often if somebody's not hearing what they want to hear, right? So there's all of that kind of stuff going on. And for me, I think probably one of the most important things is to make sure that as the conversation goes on, we all remember that the expression is one of love, right? That no matter what it is you're talking about, we don't forget the fact that we love the person we're talking with. Yeah. Right? And if we remember that, that's kind of like remembering God in the middle of the conversation, isn't it? Right? So we recognize that, nobody is here to hurt anybody in that conversation, right? And that's going to be known. It can be felt, right? It's like, when you're being attacked. Verbally, emotionally, physically, right? You can feel it. So if we all are working from that place of love and that wanting to hear as well as be heard, because hearing is the hardest part. What's that old saying about we get 2 ears and 1 mouth? Which one do we use the most? Yeah. The mouth rather than the ears, right? So practice hearing more than speaking makes a big difference.
Yeah. We say you're listening to react than listening to understand.
Right.
When you're listening to understand, you hear that person, you hear what they're saying.
That's
When
right.
you're listening to react, it goes in one ear and out the other, and you pick and choose the bad parts of that conversation, and then just
Sure.
start. Well, no, you do this, 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 and this,
Right.
and it's like, okay, hold on, reel it back.
Let's back up. And and the fact of the matter is, none of us have it mastered, right?
No, because when you start feeling like your character or something's being attacked of yourself, you go into defensive mode, and it's a hard thing to take a step back.
Exactly.
It's a
And
hard thing to look in the mirror.
And another young lady that's full of great wisdom puts on the screen here: be quick to listen and slow to speak. Right? You know when somebody's listening to you.
Yeah.
You know when they're waiting to respond.
You can see it. It's like written all over.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So, once again, are we part of the problem or part of the solution?
Both.
Yeah. Which one do we want to be?
Exactly.
Part of the solution. So again, another reason why attending the Positive Power Hour every week is to help us to hone in on these skills that we're developing, right? Because as I've said on here many times, I wasn't raised with the understanding that you had control over your thoughts. Nobody ever told me that I could actually control what I think. I thought your thoughts come from your mind and you just respond to it or react to it, right? Boy, what a hell that is, right? So practicing communication, first of all, if we can separate ourselves from the emotions, right, that get wrapped up in a communication, and just keep ourselves in that center in the moment, like you said, not be quick to react or respond, but as Cheryl said, be quick to listen and slow to speak. If we allow the person to actually express what it is they're trying to express, because as you said when we were talking off the air, we're all afraid of being how was it you phrased it? Belittled, or what was the word?
I can't remember, but just
Rejected.
Yeah, it's the fear of them not validating what you're going through, like especially if someone hurts you, and you say, hey, that really hurt when you did this,
right?
And it was like, well, no, like you took it the wrong way, and it's like you don't get to tell people that you didn't hurt them. What you can do is listen and say, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have said that to you, or I shouldn't have said it that way. This is what I meant. But you don't get to tell people I didn't hurt you. Those aren't your feelings. So when people are trying to express like, hey, what you said really hurt me. It really hurt my feelings. And they just dismiss you. That's the hard part, especially if it's somebody that you care about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, rather than simply saying, gee, I'm really sorry that I hurt your feelings. It wasn't my intention, right?
Exactly. And it's an easy fix. And, it's communication. It's what you say and how you say it,
right?
That can really turn things around instead of saying, oh, okay.
Well, and we're all human, right?
Yeah.
And none of us have mastered any part of this human thing, right?
No.
And we can hurt somebody's feelings and not even know it, not because of anything you said, but as to how it was perceived by the person that heard it, right?
Yes.
So,
and then to have that great communication and to say, the person who got hurt, to have that open communication and feel safe to have that communication, like, hey, what you said really hurt me, and I don't know if that was your intentions, but that really hurt. Instead of harboring those bad feelings and negative feelings and let it build up until one day it explodes and it goes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, we were just watching TV and I blew my nose. Then all of a sudden the floodgates come wide open.
Yep. They used to use an analogy of the pebble in the shoe, where you can get a pebble in the shoe and it can hurt your foot, for a while, but you kind of get used to it, and then after a while, the pebble starts to grow, get grown into your skin, right? And it gets to hurt so bad that you finally have to get the leg amputated. When all you had to do is take your shoe off and get rid of the pebble, right? Same kind of thing with resentments, or those hurt feelings that we'll nurse and carry on, right? And there's this program we're aware of that talks about how holding a resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die.
Yeah.
Right. And so and here's Kimberlyn saying that the most important part of communication is comprehension, really understanding what the other person is telling you instead of just listening. So one of the responses I was shown about this is that, okay, so this is what I heard you say, and then repeat it and see if that's exactly what the person had in mind or was trying to communicate to you, so that you're both aware and understanding the same meaning that was trying to be conveyed, right? So, yep, good one, Kimberlyn. Absolutely. So, anyway, communicating is something like everything else we have to practice, right?
Yeah.
And again, the idea of letting go of the resentments and the hurt feelings as quickly as we can help us to communicate more clearly without that colored tint over our eyes or our ears or our heart, right? That I'm listening to you, but I'm really pissed off at you. So I'm really not listening completely because I can't wait for you to shut up so I can tell you how I feel, right?
That sounds like a marriage.
Oh, we should be getting a comment from Luke any minute now.
Probably. I don't know. He's working. He's listening and working at the same time.
Oh, that's nice. I'm so nice that we have such, I'm really honored by our family. You all have been so supportive and so loving in what I'm working on building here. And I'm glad that you're getting something from it. I'm glad it's not just, being here to support old grandpa, right? Crazy old grandpa, but that really it's something that means something to you guys, right? And I'm honored that you guys are here. I'm honored that you're my co-host tonight, just as like I am when Kimberlyn does it and when your mom does it, right? I mean, you guys are awesome co-hosts. And in case you're listening, Richard or Jose, we're wanting you to come co-host with us as well. So let me know. And in fact, what I'm going to start doing every week is I'm going to send you an email with the link to be a co-host so you can join us on here as well, because I know you've learned a lot and you've grown a lot and you have a lot you can share with a lot of people, right? And that's the whole idea about this program is, again, there, look at all the feedback on there. Yes, we want Jose on here.
I'll text them and bug them about it.
Yep, there you go. Is that, we get so much grace by what we're learning, right? But we get even more grace when we share it with other people and help make their life a little better, to help get rid of, what's that saying I use all the time, Melinda? Do you remember the one?
You have a lot, Papa.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, we love you all. The one about the huddled masses living in quiet desperation, right? Have you ever felt like you were living in quiet desperation, Melly?
Oh yeah. I suffer with mental health issues, and specifically I have bipolar depression. I was diagnosed with bipolar depression, anxiety, and PTSD. So a lot of the living in the desperation part that's the hard part for me. I don't talk about what's going on in my head, and sometimes I can't even understand it myself. And I go through manic episodes where I'm like super excited about things, like I'm so gung-ho about something, and then the next minute I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like it's nothing to me. But that's hard because then I have a lot of projects that I start but I don't finish.
Right.
And it's difficult and I don't get motivated about things because once I'm motivated, it's done.
Right.
And so I like desperately want to reach out and get help, but it's very lonely because
Yeah.
not a lot of people understand it.
Right. Right. Which again is one of the things I'm so grateful for. Because as you know, I was diagnosed manic depressive 100 years ago. Me and the dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, when you babysat Jesus.
That's right. That's right. And I did it different than most people do it. I didn't do it with medication. I didn't do it with a lot of therapy. I did it with basically what I'm telling you guys, right? You got to train your mind.
Yeah.
Got to train it. You are your soul. Your soul knows only love. It's all it wants. It's love.
Yeah, I've learned that with this, when I get in my lows, because
Yep.
you get the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. Because I tend to go into suicidal thoughts, and that's my lows. And
That's
I
pretty
know when
loud.
I get to that point, I am just in hysterics crying, and I know I have to reach out.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I start talking. I don't know who I go to. I just go. And there was a time during COVID I went through a very, very low and decided when I was picking up dinner I wanted to run myself off the freeway.
Wow.
But I didn't.
Right.
And I came home and I was just crying and crying and crying. And so I spoke to Luke, I spoke to Cheryl, I spoke to my mom, and I got help. I'm not on medication either. I've learned to understand my triggers and learn to understand
Right.
what's going on.
Getting to know yourself, right?
But when I have moments where I just can't do it anymore, I'll
Yep.
get back on medication until I stabilize.
Yeah, and I used to be totally anti-medication. I'm not anymore. I haven't been for a long time. If you can't get your mind working the way you want it to work,
Yeah.
you need to take medication, right?
Get
And
help until
then
you
keep working
can.
on the thinking right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if
And
your
so
mind,
it's just like the communication, what I struggle with, I talk to other people.
right.
I talk to them about this is what I'm going through. Maybe this can help you. Because I've been diagnosed with so many different things right now that I can help out everybody.
Been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing about talking about it too, is that talking about it helps to get it out of your head, right?
Yes,
And it helps other people,
definitely.
right? That's the great grace of all of this, right? Is that we're all we are so not wanting to be flawed that we don't want anyone to know that we have feelings of being less than, that we have feelings of quiet desperation, that we have suicidal thoughts from time to time. All of this stuff we don't want the world to see or to know. And that's what keeps us in that quiet desperation. The huddled masses living in quiet desperation. And the fact that everyone on this call, whether you're watching on the recording or whether you're live with us right now, I guarantee you that every single one of you have had those moments of quiet desperation where maybe life has just beaten you up to the point that you just don't feel like you want to continue with this thing, or you just feel beat up, right? And so how do you fix that? And Melinda said it perfectly. You reach out. Right? It's like there was a story here in Murrieta or Menifee about a young man that was up on the bridge on the freeway threatening to jump. Right? And I had a customer in the store that I shared that story with, and he goes, "Well, let him jump." And then he showed his retired police badge. Right? Oh, really? That's the way you protect and serve? Okay. Right? I don't know. I'm more for compassion myself. I don't know how you young kids survive in all of this craziness that's going on out there. Social media. It's like if you aren't a stick and the most beautiful thing on earth, you look at those people and you think, well, God, I'm not even close to that. I'm no good at all, right? I mean,
Well,
the
we let
idea.
Richard know that, you know, a lot of you have the Instagram models, a lot of them had work done, you
Of
know,
course.
and that's not the people show you what they want you to see.
Of course.
And that's what social media is. You know,
Yeah.
they're real people behind the screen. They're just like you and me. They
That's
have insecurities, and that's why they have to get the enhancements done, you know. But at the end of the day, it doesn't take away from who you are.
No. And once again, Melly, the more you become comfortable with yourself, it doesn't matter to you what other people think. It doesn't matter what anybody else has or doesn't have. It's really how you feel about yourself that's the most important thing. And you and I were talking about the fact that about giving compliments and receiving compliments, right? And you mentioned it that, well, if you accept a compliment, then you're being vain, or oh, you're beautiful. Oh, well, oh, yes, of course I am. That's really not the idea, right? But to accept, if first of all, most people, and you've experienced this, I know you have, that even reaching out to give somebody a compliment takes courage.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how they're going to respond. You might get rejected for giving a compliment. I went through that when I first started coming out of my shell, right? Was, oh my God, what if I say something to her and she's offended? It's like I had such a low self-esteem that just standing next to a woman, I'd be so uncomfortable because I was afraid that my mere presence would offend them. Right? Now, you know me now. You know I'm not that way no more, right?
You are definitely not.
Yeah. But I had to work through all of that, right? Mm-hmm. And got to realize that if you give me a compliment and my response is, oh, no, you don't, no. I'm rejecting that person. I'm lowering their value. Rather than simply saying, like I say so many times in the course of a week, what a kind thing for you to say. That's not rejecting it, is it?
No.
It's not saying, oh, yeah, I'm wonderful. Thank you for noticing, right? Or anything like that. It's acknowledging that somebody took the time and the courage to acknowledge something that they feel from somebody else, with no thought of reciprocity or praise or anything like that. It's just that from their heart, they felt the need to share with you an experience that they've had with you. So when we accept that compliment, we're accepting that person, first of all. We're acknowledging them for being kind and generous, which God knows we need more of in this world, more now than ever. And we're accepting that God made us the way we are, and that our life is a gift from God, right? So by accepting the compliment, first of all, it doesn't mean that you're vain or egotistical. It just means that you recognize that you're a child of God too, just like the person that just gave you that compliment, right?
Yeah, like I was telling you offline, well, my husband giving me a compliment, I'm still like,
Yeah.
But, and like I was telling you, having 2 kids, your body's not the same anymore. And
right.
I went through a lot with my daughter over a year ago, with the pregnancy. I was diagnosed with RA because of it. I have body dysmorphia. I don't look at myself that same way, and I don't recognize who I am. And he's just like, woman, take the damn compliment.
Yes, he's right.
And I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, my hair is not done. I'm not wearing makeup. I'm in freaking sweats and a big old t-shirt. And my hair is like, the bun is like halfway over here. And he goes, you're so beautiful. I'm like,
do you remember the movie that Meatloaf was in? I think it was Meatloaf, where he meets this woman and he thinks she's just the most beautiful woman in the world, and it's actually one of the thin actresses, right? That he's seeing. But then at the end of the movie, they show a pair of her panties and they're like gargantuan inside.
Oh, that's oh, what is that movie? Shallow Hal?
Shallow Hal. Exactly
Yes.
right. But in his eyes, she was absolutely gorgeous, right? Yeah. And see, that's the thing, is that when we get rid of all this stuff about what a body should look like and you know, being all attracted to the body rather than the soul, right? The kindness of the person, the generosity of the person, the gentle mind of the person, all of the other attributes. There's so many more attributes than the physical frame, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Luke's referring to, is that he sees the beauty in you, right? And you have to see the beauty in you. You know, I always, you know, I tell people, look, I'm not Robert Redford, but I'm not the ugliest man on earth either, right? I'm just kind of somewhere in the middle, right? And so, you know, it's about being accepting of ourselves, right? I can't change. I mean, unless I want to go spend tens of thousands of dollars to put hair on my head, or, you know, God knows what I'd have done, right? If I could just accept this, oh, don't get me started. But if I could just accept that I am the way I am, and like I've said, you know, I'm going to do this again because I haven't done it in a while, and people need to hear it. And that is how I view me. You know, who am I? I'm Dan McBee, a son of God, who has great compassion for people, loves people, loves to help in any way he can. He makes a lot of mistakes, right? But he never quits trying to do better. He's quick to forgive, right? He's quicker to forgive himself than he ever has been, but he is always quick at forgiving everybody else, right? You can't ask for a much better friend than Dan. He will be honest with you. You can trust him with your money. You can trust him with your children. You can trust him with your wife. There was a time where you couldn't do that in my past, right? So, yeah, so those are all things that I like about Dan, right? I like his sense of humor. I love his sense of humor, actually, right? And so that's the way I can describe myself now. Most of us can't do that. Most of us only see the negative, right? It's like, I know where the fat is. I know where the dimples are. I know where the stretch marks are. I know where all these negative things are, rather than, I love my heart. I love how I make people laugh. I love making people laugh. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. I just love making people laugh. And so this is the way, and I tell you these things, not again because I need to tell you how wonderful I am. It's not about that. It's about having a positive view of myself. Does it sound egotistical to you, Melly?
No.
No. Does it sound vain?
No.
No. Does it sound honest? Yeah. Does it sound true? Yeah. So if I can feel that way, and that's the way I live my life every day, can you imagine what my day must feel like?
That's good.
Yeah.
It feels free.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I want for everybody, is to feel that way, to feel good about yourself, right? And to recognize, like Cheryl says right here, you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. And I remember your grandma telling me that when she divorced me. I said, how can you leave me? I love you and the kids so much. And she says, no, you don't. You don't love yourself. How can you love us if you don't love you? She was right. Right? So that's job one, right? It's like we talk about, what do we want out of life? How do we view success? Well, if you don't have a good, healthy view of yourself, how do you think you're going to accomplish anything else? Because, like in my early years, I hated myself so much. All I called myself was a loser and stupid and, just God's worst possible project, right? How in the world did I think I was going to create any kind of happy life feeling that way, thinking that way, putting myself down every time I made a mistake? Could you imagine your children, how they would be like a whooped dog, right? If all you did was pounce on them every time they made a mistake. That's what I did. That's what you did. You're changing that, right? But you used to do that. I know you did. Am I wrong?
Especially with the first child, it's always harder with the first child than the second. But I'm also growing up with him. I was 19 when I had him,
right.
So I tell him, like, it's a learning process. You don't come with a manual, kid.
No.
But I'm doing a whole lot better.
Yes, and that's the whole idea. Is I would really appreciate it. I would be honored if everyone that watches our show or participates with us to understand a little better every week that they have a right to be happy, that they have a right to smile, they have a right to expect a good, happy life, right? And to know that if they give from the heart and they give their energy to where they want to go, they will get there. Mm-hmm. Just like we talked about Kimberlyn last week, about how she thought for sure when she was like 16 that she had it all figured out, and by God, she wasn't going to make the same mistakes everybody else makes. She's going to get exactly where she wants to go because she can do that, right? She was totally confident. And then life does what life does and kind of beats us up, and that confidence goes away, and all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, what happened?
Well, life builds character.
Yes, but then what she got to realize, and I just love that aha moment she had last week, right here on our show, that, oh my God, I actually did do all of that. Just not the way I thought it. Yeah, that's right. Joke's on me. But that was such a powerful moment, wasn't it? Right? To recognize that, oh my God, for all the things that I think I screwed up and all the things I didn't do that I thought I was going to do, here I am and everything's good. How awesome is that? Kind of proves that God has a better idea how to do things than we do. Right?
Well, if we went through life with no hardships, nothing, and we got from A to B with no hiccups, no nothing, you wouldn't enjoy it as much.
No. Well, you wouldn't grow much, would you? You'd just be kind of like this all the time, right? Yeah. But it's like you said, it's those hard times that pull us closer to Him. Mm-hmm. It's those hard times that build our character. It's those hard times, it's like I said, knowing that I was so, my self-esteem was so bad that I thought my mere presence in front of somebody else would be offensive, right? How in the world could I ever enjoy anything if that's the way I felt about myself? And yet what I got to learn was that I wasn't the only one. There's a lot of people that feel that way. And the great grace for me now is that I get to, first of all, I can see it, right? I can see when somebody feels that way. And and Jose pipes in to say, I was in dinner mode right now. Love you all. Hey, we love you too, Jose. And yes, I'm at dinner at 10 o'clock. That's called a late night dinner, right? Yeah.
Well, like me and Jose talk, he goes through a lot, and I always tell him, you know what, because they always tell me I'm the blunt one. I will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So if you want feel good, don't come to me. Um, I'll say it lovingly, of course, but all with the best intentions. It's not time yet. It's not your time. You're not ready yet. You're gonna have these hard times, but you're gonna get through that. And I only say it because I went through that experience.
Sure.
It's just not your time yet. Hold on, keep going, keep doing the work.
Yep.
Your time will come.
And you'll probably be in that good time before you even know it. You'll be having it, and then just like Kimberlyn, you'll go, "Oh my God, I'm in it!" I didn't even realize it, right?
Exactly. You just hold on, like, do not give up hope. And anybody who's watching this, in the audience, like, if you feel like it can't get any worse, trust me, it gets better.
Well, there's a song that's, I'm an old rocker, right? And there's a song about don't stop believing.
Yeah.
Right? Hold on to that feeling.
We're here for you. If you ever need someone to reach out to,
That's right.
you can message the group. You can message my papa.
Yep. Here's our email address right here. That's my email. You're more than welcome to email me. Here's my phone number. You're more than welcome to call me. Say, hey, I saw you on the show and I need someone to talk to. Can we talk a few minutes? Yeah.
And if you feel like you can't talk to Papa, you want a female's perspective, you can always reach out to me. I am on the app as well, on the website or the Facebook. You can also reach out to Nicole too. Nicole has great, wonderful advice.
Yep.
She's my mother, so I know. I've gotten it my whole life.
There.
But reach out. It's super important just to, even have a conversation. If you feel like you just need someone to talk to, and just say hi or, talk about your day with, reach out.
That's right. We're here for you, right? And then one of the things we'll close with is to remember that what you think is happening to you is actually happening for you. Not always easy to remember when you're in the midst of it, right? But it is so true. And you can look back on anything you thought was a horrible thing happening to you in the past, and you can look forward and see why that thing was so an important part of your journey. And if we can remember that as we're going through those tough moments, it makes going through that tough moment much easier, right?
So, and if you need someone to be tough for you, reach out and we will be tough for you. We will hold your hand through it, or whatever you need. We're here.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up another powerful, positive power hour, Melinda, if you see somebody without a smile, what should you do?
Boop them in the nose. Give them one of mine.
And why would you do that?
Because it makes them feel good.
Yeah. And what else does it do?
It makes me feel good.
Yeah. So it's a feel-good thing, right?
Yeah. And it's free. And it's free.
And it's free. Absolutely. And it's so powerful. You've had that experience where you just gave someone a smile, right? And saw that it changed that person in that very moment, right?
Yeah, it took me out of my head because they were like, oh, excuse me. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. Oh, hi.
Yeah, right? And I'll tell you something else that happens when we do that, especially if we do it on a more consistent basis. The world seems less evil and less mean, right? And you get to see that there are a lot of people out there who just want to smile and feel good. It's really a minority of people that want to live in that hate and misery. And there's nothing you can do to say or you can do or say that's going to change the way they are, because that's just where they want to be. And God bless them for it. If that's what they need, if that's their part of their journey, we all have to go through those kinds of things to get to the other side, right? Yeah. And so we need to be mindful of that and aware that they're on their journey just like we are. And, we can hold out hope that perhaps they'll see the light and they'll pull to it, right? and enjoy that sunlight of the Spirit. So for my awesome daughter, who is going through a little bit of health issue at the moment, where our thoughts and love are out with you, Nicole. And for my awesome granddaughter, Melinda, Melly, who's with us today, and all of my grandchildren and great grandchildren, and everybody out there, thank you for joining the Power Hour tonight, and we will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.